Narrow One isn't very balanced. That's to be expected. With as many updates as it's gotten, and as many core changes to gameplay it's had, it's a miracle it stayed as balanced as it has. But there's still issues, and I want to talk about them. This is probably going to end up longer than I intended, so I'll include timestamps for each section. Because surprise surprise, there isn't just one factor making Narrow One imbalanced. There's like 5 different flavors to it. Starting with the first part of the video. The base game is, at its core, a capture the flag game, and the base balancing of the game is tied to this fact. All bows, except Bow 5 and Bow 2, were released on the 21st of May 2021, with Bow 2 being released on the game's debut, and Bow 5 being created on the 28th of September 2022, over a year after the rest of the bows. I'll be dedicating an entire section to Bow 5, so for the rest of this section, I'll be discussing the bows the way God intended for them to be played. Utterly statless. Bow 2 was designed as a general use bow, not having any weaknesses but no complete strengths, its best trait being its high DPS. Bow 3 was a sniper bow, having the second longest draw time and heavy focus, around the equivalent of 9 focus nowadays. Bow 4 was the weakest bow for combat, doing light damage with its arrows, but being the fastest bow, intended for grabbing flags. Bow 6 was a heavy damage defender bow, intended to guard the entrance to a team's base, preventing flag grabs. Finally, Bow 1 was a fast bow, shooting individually weak arrows, but could charge to shoot 3 arrows at once, dealing massive damage. These were relatively balanced, although people heavily favoured Bow 2, for its high damage, low draw time, good movement speed, range, the list goes on. It was, and still is, the best bow for 2 loading speed, which was what all bows were held to before stats were created. Bow 3 and 6 were both liked by the community, as Bow 3 could deal high damage, and because of the high focus, could shoot relatively fast without sacrificing aim. Bow 6 was also a decent pick, as by that stage, there wasn't nearly as much parkour or secret routes in maps, so being able to shut down a path with a high damage bow was very useful. Bow 4 was less used, but still by far the best choice for grabbing flags. Bow 1 was shackled to being a mid to close range bow, although it struggled with getting close enough to be useful, as Bow 2 and 3 players were very prevalent. While Bow 2 was a dominating force, all of the bows were inherently useful picks, all having a niche which could be justified. At this point, the best team was a team that made use of every bow. This, unsurprisingly, would be changed with future updates. Bow 5, as its name suggests, was a 6th bow to be added to the game. It was intended to be used alongside other bows for extra damage and protection. It wasn't as individually important as the other bows and needed its own support to hit its max potential as well, but with the right environment could create walls of arrows blocking opposition. While theoretically sounding quite alright, the actual bow was not the best. Bow 5 did light but fast damage, with a large spread made for countering crowds, but with a 2 loading speed base, it didn't shoot arrows or reload fast enough to properly do this. Its problems were further emphasized by the general awareness of stats being very low in the community, with damage protection and movement speed being the most used stats, as their respective gear pieces were the best looking. Both of these gear spreads either counted or just weren't good options for Bow 5. Damage protection made Bow 5's light damage arrows do even less to opponents, while movement speed was wasted on Bow 5 players as you were stationary while shooting. Due to these issues, Bow 5 was neglected by most of the community until future updates. Melees were added to the game in early 2023, with more and more being added pretty regularly. The initial wave of melees had a few of each weapon type, in each price range, with free, ad-bought, and coin-purchased melees. Most of these were simple, being plain swords and daggers. Initially these were pretty balanced, having different strengths and weaknesses respectively. The standout was the heavy spears, which when charged could boost the player forward. This was nerfed later, so that its direction would lock in place and it couldn't go in unpredictable directions. However, In a plot twist I'm sure no one here expects, this balance didn't last for long. No, literally 1 day after melees were added, switch boosting was discovered by 12bobs in a discussion post. This spiraled into many different types of boosting, namely 180 and Omni boosting. Luckily, Omni was removed due to its tendency to destroy lobbies. 180, however, stayed, and while not as OP as Omni, it's still pretty darn good, allowing for trick shots, combos, and general movement that no other melee can provide. While thoroughly outclassing basically every other melee for general use, it also gave bow 4 an identity crisis, as any bow with boosting was faster than bow 4 without it, the bow specifically designed for grabbing flags. This meant any bow could now go for flag grabs and be successful, meaning bow 4 players either had to boost to keep up, or have a more combat-focused perspective on the bow. Focus isn't inherently useful. Compared to attack strength or loading speed, focus doesn't directly help you with combat. It's more of a general bonus, allowing you to see better from further away. This sounds like an interesting mechanic, until you see how it's balanced. The only bow with a significant boost whatsoever is bow 3, Sharpshooter, the bow that was already the best at long distance shooting. Yep, every other bow only gets very small boost to focus from the stat. This makes 0 focus on bow 3 better than 10 focus on any other bow, essentially making a useless stat for every bow except bow 3, with it still being optional there. Fun. Attack strength really works, until it doesn't. It's pretty simple mechanically. The more you have of it, the more damage a shot does, and for the most part this works. Apart from a few glaring issues. Bow 3 and bow 6 already 2-shot. They cannot 1-shot. See the problem here? Attack strength is utterly useless on these bows, as 2 shots from them always kill. They had a chance with melees, but apart from one specific interaction, it's still 2 taps. Then you get to damage cap, where after a certain point, bow strength stops being a factor. Bow 4 cannot kill in under 5 body shots. Bow 1 can't kill in under 3. Consider anti-cheat and attack strength doesn't matter anymore, where no matter how much attack you have, you still 3 tap with bow 2, 3 and 6, still 6 tap with bow 4, still take a full clip to kill with bow 5. At the end of the day, most stats don't matter. Most. So that's it, right? I've mentioned everything I need to, everything that makes Narrow One unbalanced. I couldn't possibly be forgetting one particular stat that I'll dedicate an entire section towards, one that could easily be considered the most troublesome of the 3. No, I'd never do that. Loading speed makes bows shoot faster. A lot faster. This makes bows that typically require charging or a lot of aim much less aim-based. This is especially prevalent in bow 1. Bow 1 went from a light bow with a heavy attack you could charge for, to a heavy bow with a light attack you could spam for. This made it much less aim-based, much easier to spam, and exceptionally good at crowd control. With very high damage, high movement speed, a heavy attack you could charge towards very quickly, and arrow spread, it essentially became a high damage spray and pray weapon. Loading speed broke bow 1's role and capabilities. The stat also dominates the meta as it has synergy with literally every strategy. It can make stun much better, with faster stun stacks, or make your DPS skyrocket with attack strength. It means you can zoom faster, and shoot arrows even faster than usual with focus. Paired with travel speed, it made sheer arrow spam one of the best strategies for semi-pro lobbies. But by far, its best synergy is with itself. It takes away the need for any other stats, any other strategies. 5 loading speed means you have room for error in any scenario. Bow spam for close range, no movement loss when drawing bows. Loading speed is always useful, always powerful, and always better than a bow without it. The closest thing to a counter is the anti-cheat, which can only delay its effects, and only works half the time. Every bow becomes a power-crept version of itself with full loading, removing the need for skill or other stats. Where bow 1 does its heavy attack almost instantly, where bow 2 can spam shots creating a wall of DPS, where bow 3 can play close range, where bow 4 can kill in a second, where bow 5 shoots its clip in half a second, and where bow 6 loses its long reload time. Loading speed broke the bows, the strategy, and the balance of Narrow One. After all, why invest in anything else when you have a solution that will always be better? Or at least that's my opinion on it. Realistically, you could take any stance on the matter and be correct to some degree. Some stats are broken, some aren't. Some are broken half the time and really weak the other half. It's in the eye of the beholder. I'm just the loudest complainer. But anyone can complain, and I need to be special, so at some point I'll make a sequel to this video detailing my ideas for solutions to each of the problems outlined here. Because no one's tried to balance Narrow One before. Shit.